Hi, my name's Demara, and I'm the channeler of the Truth Testaments, the 42 messages that have been given to us for us to be able to learn how to navigate through these earth changes and the changes within the energy frequencies that we are going through now and will be going through for the foreseeable future. I picked us a starseed activation card today, actually. And this card is Child of the Cosmos. I hope you can see that. And it says, the intelligence of the universe lies within you. And that is for every one of us who are all part of the human collective. And I just had a quick look at the first paragraph of this Truth Testament number 25, which I've been asked to read today. And it's about us acknowledging and knowing deeply that we are one in the human collective and part of the larger one. And I thought today what I would do first is tell you how I came to be channeling these sorts of messages. It's not your normal story that's happening right now. There are hundreds of people, probably thousands, all over the world now channeling. And there are channeling courses you can go and do. And also people are just waking up and wanting to channel. And then they go forward and do whatever they do to be able to channel messages. But that's not actually what happened to me. What happened to me was I was running the Phoenix Center for Intuitive Living in a small market town in the UK. And I'd been running this for, I ran it in total for 9 years, this particular building, which was quite a sacred building, actually. And at another point, I will tell you the history of the building that I rented and didn't realize the history at the time. But what happened was I was asked to allow somebody to run a psychic group to bring people on in their psychic abilities. And I wasn't sure about whether this person was the right person, and I didn't want it to be associated with the center if it wasn't. So I decided that I would let her run a couple and I would go down and be a part of those groups. And I wasn't anybody that channeled or did anything psychic. I worked as a sensitive, as an intuitive. I actually did dowsing. I dowsed Bach flower remedies blind so that I didn't know which remedies I was dowsing over. And then I used to use a hair sample. And the hair sample through the dowsing would give me a connection to that person so that I could read what emotional, mental remedies they required on the Bach flower system of treatment. And also I could douse over a picture of a body and just intend that this was them, and then pick up physical things that were happening to that person as well, like whether they, had problem with certain organs and stuff like that. So I was very used to doing that. But I mean, the other stuff I really had never even looked at or got into. I didn't see myself as a psychic. I see these flames are going bananas here. So what actually happened was I sat in on this first psychic meeting, and she was leading people on some sort of journey, and then asking them what they were receiving. Well, what actually happened to me was being taken on this deep visualization. I knew that I was being totally overshadowed by incredibly strong energies. And the first time it happened, I actually ran out of the room. I was blocking it, and I felt really, really sick, and just ran out, and then came back sometime later and said, listen, I just didn't feel good, because it was the truth. And then I thought, I have to do this a second time, because I really wasn't conscious of what was going on with the other people who were going to be attending. And I wanted to verify that she was okay to run this group. The next time I went, I sat through the feeling that I was being overshadowed by a really strong energy. and decided to sense into it. And it was very pure. I knew that. My intuition was telling me it was very, very pure. And Sandy, the woman who was running the course, knew that I was in some deep state and asked me what I was receiving. And I started giving her messages, and she was asking me, who are they? And I just asked, and they gave me a couple of archangel names. That was the first time Archangel Raphael actually came through. And he was a major part, probably 90% part of the 2 books that I channeled later in 1991. But I think as I channeled these words, which I don't remember now, but I know they were about the future, which is what my path has always been, is giving people the future path. And I know Sandy became quite upset and said, this information shouldn't be coming through now, and I don't understand how you're getting this, and was really quite annoyed, which was interesting for me. And I must admit, her class only ran for about 3 or 4 classes, and then she didn't carry on. But for me, what happened was I never forgot that, and it never left me, actually. It never left me totally. And I was running a 3-story building with a restaurant, therapy rooms, a new age shop at the bottom, a health food shop in the basement, everything. And I decided that I had to take time out. So I took a period of time, and kept being I was at home with the children more. I think it was probably in the summer holidays that I did this, and I kept being told to pick up a pen, and eventually I did, and started to receive odd little messages. And then they started giving me the Magic Kabbalah fairy tale, which was actually about my whole life in a way, and about things that happened to me, and with a soulmate partner as well along the way. But after that, they started giving me these really incredible happenings, and they gave me the title of the book first, which was Advent Calendar for the Salvation of the Planet, which I thought, oh my goodness, what? You're expecting me to write that, channel that, receive that? And I did start to do sessions where I just sat and received everything they gave me, and I typed it on my son's computer. He had an Amstrad 6128, I think it was, and you could actually use the keyboard and type information and save on it. And it was really interesting because I just did it on there, and I saved 11 pages. And I just filed it away and went back to work, because I had no idea that we were going to go through all these changes, earthquakes, tsunamis, all sorts of things, volcanoes going off, and that actually there was some real event, like an event horizon event. That's what I got from this. And I filed it away. And I went back to all my duties at the centre as an intuitive, working every day as an intuitive and managing the centre. But what actually happened was the rent got doubled. This is crazy. The rent got doubled. There was no way I could pay it. We weren't a huge profit-making establishment. And my relationship ended. I'm trying to think what else. Everything happened so that I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing left. I had to leave the centre, the building. I had to leave the house I was in. I can't even remember where I was living there, but I ended up in a tiny rented property in a little village, and the property was really dark, and it wasn't until everything had been taken away that I actually sat in that house thinking, okay, what is it that I'm not doing? And I just knew it was that channeling. And I just started the next morning, and I channeled around about 1,200 words every day until the 2 books were finished. And that really disciplined me for life, actually, on everything that I do in a spiritual way. And the first publisher that I sent the first book to, and then carried on channeling the second book, wanted to publish the book, and it went out in, I think it was 1993 he had it, and 1994 I think was the official publication date. So strange things can happen to you, and it's not always by choice in this kind of world that we live in. This was part of a contract that I had signed before I incarnated, for sure. And because I was neglecting that contract, everything was removed from my life. I mean, that's something I will never forget. And as I sat and reconnected, I knew it was absolutely the perfect thing for me to be doing at that time. And I just received all the information for 2 books. So I'm just allowing you to see the different types of journeys. This wasn't about going and paying money to go on a course. This wasn't about deciding that I was going to become a channeler. It wasn't anything like that. And many parts of my path were like that, like when I was given my spiritual name, which I'll tell you about on another occasion. But now I'm going to read to you the Truth Testament. These messages began in August last year and finished in August this year. And now I am channeling the sacred texts, but we have not got all of these onto the YouTube channel yet, which is what they wanted me to do, to make these more public. So Truth Testament number 25. Our messages are our way of communicating with you as a collective. We need to be able to talk to you as a collective so that you are also seeing that you are indeed a collective. We speak clearly so that there are no misunderstandings. There cannot at this point be any misunderstandings. You have lived much of your lives as an independent person with not as much regard for others as needs to have been had, but now we are helping you to align with your missions in a more absolute way. This absolute way is the most important thing as you go forward on your individual paths. You can be individuals on your own path of collective consciousness. It is not an individual path which is only affecting you. It is an individual path which affects everyone else on your planet. The reason this occurs is because of the frequency algorithm. We call this an algorithm because this is what you relate to on your own internet. You are interconnected with the rhythm of the algorithm and therefore comprehend the importance of the algorithm. It means everything if you are to be a part of the functioning of the internet. So we will relate to what you already have in your consciousness and say to you that you are connected to each other through frequency. So when one frequency is wildly different to the others around you, you are aware of this. When you feel good, it is when you are around those that have a similar frequency. It does not need to be exactly the same. It will always have its own particular notes. It is important for all of you that you are reaching for the highest frequency that you can obtain by staying within the soul contracts that you took on before incarnating this time around. When you stay within your soul contracts, it means that you are practicing the skills and connections that you agreed to make this time around. It does not mean that you are just under contract all of the time. Your own frequency gives you the opportunity to have experiences amongst many levels of consciousness and connection with many others, as long as they are also completing your contracts on time. These contracts are soul contracts which allow you to complete your missions for this incarnation. When you complete your missions, you are allowed to leave this world behind and return to your dimensional choices. These dimensional choices are many, as we do not labour under the same world concepts that are very much alive on planet Earth. Our freedom is our choice wherever we are and whatever dimensional choices we make. We are not servants to a system, but are our own frequency essence. Much will be revealed as we go through the next couple of years, overviewing these challenges that are upon your earth plane. We are here to keep up your spirits whilst you take the offer of returning back to dimensionality realms. What we mean by this is that you are returning to a more honest spiritual realm while still on earth, with a knowledge of where you come from. When you comprehend dimensions, you will make it easier for yourselves to remain on earth during these huge changes which are occurring and which will continue to occur for the coming future times. It is the end of servitude and the beginnings of taking back your spiritual essence while still embodying the physicality of the earth plane. We cannot always give you the words which imply the totality of these shifts, but we are attempting to give you as much as we can in words as we support you in this final support you in this final charade shedding time. When you begin to see the charades that are being played out, you will begin to see that you are so much more than these characters you are still playing. You cannot be characters and be who you really are. Shed these improvisations and you shed the coverings which are shielding you from the light and your unique powers. Do not be afraid. These coverings were a good safety for the times you needed them, but now is not the time to be shielded from your true essence. You always knew that you would need to shed these identities. It was written in your blueprints, which are stained onto your soul essence. This staining is what we call memory. It is there but does not always get remembered. It is only when you let go of what you are not that you can remember who you really are. It is not automatic. It takes effort to raise the frequency of your consciousness in order to throw off the identity that you chose this time around in this incarnation. It is not you. It is a kit which you use in order to allow your soul to come forth to this plane of existence. It cannot just be shed like a coat or a hat. It has a system which initiates from your choices. Each choice is like a stitch in a garment which starts to fall apart. Each choice you make when you are regarding another as important as you regard yourself, will begin the threads unraveling in the false identity. Each choice that you make towards the collective will achieve seams of your identity to come apart and hang as if they do not belong. You must make the effort to see that individuality is something which is unique, but not separate from the collective. You do not lose your true self when you let go to being a sovereign part of the consciousness of the human collective. You have chosen as the star part of your life on earth to lose your false identity and to live through your soul essence. It is not true that there are dreams and feelings to do this and that this is what haunts most of the people on your planet. That they know there is so much more than the survival existence they have. There is a minority that lives out some of their dreams, but always hampered by the knowledge that some others have no freedoms at all, and their very existence is a shadow of what is possible. We spend much time attempting to give you this information from many different angles so that you can unravel the truths for yourselves and pass on the information to others. We cannot always give you this information just straight and concise because we are weaving the words that will affect different types of people at different times. You have all become encapsulated into different charades which require a different approach. Are we not being creatively experiential in our service to you? Which charade are you playing for yourself in your particular life? Are you the do-gooder who has taken on certain in-service actions but are still rooted totally in your own physicality? Are you the entrepreneur who has made it good and now gives back some of the proceeds to charity but lives for the physical rewards you yourself have? Are you a victim to your own past and cannot go one day without, in some way, feeling the victim with absolutely no connection to why you chose that particular past? Are you someone who has a fervent desire to be a good spiritual leader, just as long as everyone follows what you say and what you believe? Are you one of those who has exhausted all of the fun occupations on the earth plane and now is depressed and bored because you have not as yet reconnected with the blueprint you chose before you came to this destination? Which charade do you need to drop, and when will you reconnect to your source and take up your spiritual mantle again? We leave you now with only this one question, as it is the only one you will ever need to ask yourself. So I'll just repeat that question, which was the sentence before. Which charade do you need to drop? And when will you reconnect to your source and take up your spiritual mantle again? A very good question to ask. And thank you for listening to that. I am so surprised at what this went into, because when I pull this up on my laptop, which is the only way I have of getting back to these 42 truth testaments, because they're actually on my laptop. And when I went back to them, all I could read was this, because I can only see a bit at a time. And I could only see this bit about the collective. I had no idea that it was actually going to be rooted in us making that choice to take back our contract. And that's the story I told you. I just love the way that they guide me with this, because I just thought, it would be really interesting to tell people, because I know that people at the moment do channeling for all sorts of different reasons and for careers. That was not what happened to me. And it was me having to take back my contract. And I'm so surprised as I read this. This is such a powerful message. I actually forgotten most of this message from number 25. I don't recall all of the information because I'm not the one writing it ever. I'm the one receiving it. So when I read these back, I just love the power that's in them because I don't have ownership of this. I'm just the messenger. Anyway, thank everyone for those who've been subscribing and liking and commenting. That's so appreciated, because this is not your normal stuff that I'm putting up, is it? This is about shaking people into their awakening. And not everyone wants that to happen. So this is not easy for me to get this out to more and more people. So I'm relying on you guys to subscribe, to share. And if you really do appreciate them and you resonate with them, please tell others about these truth testaments. I mean, I'm working at the moment now on, I did a whole workshop this morning on marketing, which is really not my thing, but I'm going to have to do it because I need these messages to go far and wide, because they're so important for us to use as our awakening, or part of our awakening tool, because all the things that we need to do are within these messages. And even more so with the first two sacred texts, which I'm currently channeling. So thank you, thank you, thank you.